All right, well, moving on to our next story. HBO released the first trailer for The Last of Us Season 2 last week with the melancholy musical theme from Pearl Jam in the background. The trailer shows Joel and Ellie's past catching up to them 5 years after the events of Season 1. We also see a lot of new cast members, including Danny Ramirez, Jeffrey Wright, and Catherine O'Hara. The trailer dropped on September 26th, the day of the virus outbreak in the original video game. Is anyone prepared for what comes next?
Oh, you're not prepared. If you think you are, you're not. If you were like the millions of people who watched The Last of Us Season 1, it was one of HBO's highest rated and most viewed shows. This is definitely a show that people are clamoring for and excited for, and I definitely count myself as one of them. I thought The Last of Us Season 1 was just on another level in terms of the creative force that it was. It did the thing that we've been wanting, if you've kind of been wanting like video game adaptations into media, they did the thing more perfectly than I've ever seen done that we've always asked for, which is that if you're going to do that, you want it to be really close to the source material, but you want it to feel distinct and be its own thing. And The Last of Us Season 1, if you played the game The Last of Us, the first one, you saw direct shots from that game. The things that made it great, the scenes and the lines and the scenery and all that stuff that made it great was there. But it also wasn't afraid to experiment a little bit with some of the world building and some of the character moments. And it ended up just being this like fantastic package of a show that left people asking questions after Season 1. And so this trailer, when it dropped last week, was hotly anticipated. People wanted to see, especially people, and again, like we're not talking any spoilers for The Last of Us 2 if you've played the game. Like I've played the game, Scotty, I know you've played the game, so we kind of know where this is going. But again, like a lot of people haven't. They're experiencing this world for the first time, and so we're not going to spoil anything or even hint at anything. But when this trailer came out, what I was really interested in as someone who played the second game, because the second game is substantially longer than the first game, is I was wondering like how is this going to work in terms of parsing it up. The first game mirrors the first movie. I mean, down to the minute. Like it ends in the exact same way as the first game. But the second game just probably can't squeeze into a second season. It just wouldn't work. There's too much going on. The storylines are too long, and there's too many things that you have to deal with in that second game. And so to me, I was trying to look for that. Like, where is this going to cut? You know, where are we going to see it cut off, because we would assume that this will have to be at least a season 3 at some point. And so I think we got a pretty good idea of that out of the trailer. Personally, like I think I at least kind of walked away thinking like, all right, I know where this is going. I know where this is going to cut off. But what was encouraging and cool was to see the character of Caitlin Dever, who popped up in here as a character called Abby from The Last of Us Part 2, which plays a pivotal role in that story. And you know, video game people who are more hardcore are like, she doesn't really look like a character. I could care less about that stuff. That does not bother me at all. I just think that bringing that character to the screen is going to be really important for the narrative here. So overall, I thought the trailer was fantastic. I was already going to think it was fantastic. I was going to be biased no matter what. But I would encourage people, if you are curious about this show, you know, check out that first season. Like get in and take a look at it, because it's probably not what you're expecting, and I think you'll walk away being very, very interested in a season 2. But yeah, I'm really excited for this, and I thought the trailer just nailed the aesthetic, the drama, the consequences that we're going to have to deal with was from season 1, which are really heavy and not resolved, and like how is all of that going to come together in this second chapter. So I'm expecting a lot from it, and I think the trailer really delivered in piquing everybody's interest.
Completely agree. And you, Jay, this show is the show that brought us together as podcasters. We had a podcast about this last year, and I got to know Jay doing that. That was a lot of fun. And it's just such a good show. You've played all the games. I have not, and I gotta say, the first season blew me away with the way the narrative ended up going. Completely unexpected, and in the end couldn't have ended any other way. At the same time, it's kind of a perfect narrative. I love it, and I love to know that we get something that people like yourself talk so highly of the second game and the narrative there too. So I'm really, really pumped for season 2. And this trailer is just The mood is there. It's very, 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 very emotional, and also tells me nothing about what's going on. Like, yes, I know nothing. Like I'm sure you playing the game are like, oh yeah, that character's there. That you know the whole narrative, but like as someone who doesn't know, the characters are some of the characters from the first season are there, but that's all I really know. Yeah. There's zombies in it. That's about it. I know nothing else. It looks great.
I'm glad you went because I was really curious about that. Like Jay has mentioned, I have played the games, so I was curious what someone's perspective is on this trailer, having not played the game. Like even if you played the first game, maybe didn't play the second game, saw the first season. What did you think of this trailer? Because to your point, it really does not reveal a lot. It is really just setting a mood. And as we said, that use of Pearl Jam, I think it captured the perfect mood, a very melancholic mood, reflective kind of mood, because, again, this is going to be difficult to talk about, being wary of spoilers. And I want to be wary of spoilers for season 1 too, because it hasn't even been out a full 2 years. So, yeah. But if you know how that ended, reflective is certainly an appropriate tone for this. Mm-hmm. So that being said, Matt, to your point, yeah, there are characters that I recognize, characters that I don't recognize. Chiefly, I'm very interested to see how Catherine O'Hara factors in, especially the character that she's talking to and the setting that it seems to be in there. But yeah, Jess Kamai said in the chat, whoa, 5 years is a big time jump. And I echo that sentiment as well. Like I believe that's in keeping with the game as well. But just thinking about Bella Ramsey, playing the 14-year-old version of Ellie, and now she's going to be aged up 5 years. She is, I think she's like 21, 22, somewhere in that range, but she does skew younger. So she's a hell of an actress. I think she has the ability to, lend the gravitas that's going to be necessary for the journey that character is going to be on. But we only got the smallest snippet of some of the other characters, but I just wanted to call out Isabella Merced. She has a hell of an agent. Madam Web notwithstanding, but like Alien Romulus, she's in the DC stuff. But yeah, she has an interest in being anything high profile. Seems like she gets it. She was even in those one of the Transformers films back in the day.
Yeah, and it should be said too that The Last of Us 2, the game, and again I won't say why, but The Last of Us 2, the game, inspired a lot of conversation, from a lot of people, and it was divisive. I mean, it was a divisive game, probably one of the most divisive games ever. I fall on the side that I think it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant thing of storytelling, and I think it like when that comes to the screen, I think that conversation will continue again. Like the divisiveness of the second game will come back, but I think it's a good divisiveness. Like ultimately, I think the conversation there. I think it'll drown out any of the negativity surrounding that game, which was, I don't think, warranted at all. So I'm interested, and again, we'll talk about it when that season's over, or whatever. We'll talk about it more, or while that season's going on. But I think that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on as we roll into The Last of Us Part 2 and Season 2 and wherever they cut it, because like I said, I don't think you're going to get that whole game in one season. So they'll cut it at some point. And finding that out and having those conversations about where they cut it is going to be interesting.
I can't wait.